In business and in life, finding a niche or maybe the perfect niche is like finding the missing piece to a puzzle. It completes the picture, gives you direction, and makes everything click into place. Join me and my guest today on Strategy Talks as we talk about finding your perfect niche. Stick around.
Let's strategize together. Let's hear it from an expert. Join the conversation, it's informative and free. You and me, let's talk some strategy. Now here's your host, Dorien Morin-van.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Strategy Talks. Happy Tuesday. My name is Dorien Morin-van, and I'm your host. And you might be watching this live on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook. I want to welcome you if you're here live. If you have questions for myself or my guest today, as always, put them in the comments. We would love to know your thoughts on this topic. Now, if you're watching this on the replay on any of those channels, put hashtag replay in the comments so that both myself and my guests can respond to any questions you may have. And last but not least, as always, we want to welcome those of you who listen to Strategy Talks as a podcast. We thank you for tuning in, and we are ready to get started. Today in the green room, and we had a wonderful conversation to get started, is my friend Hope. Hope, welcome to Strategy Talks.
Hi, welcome. It's so good to see you in person.
I know. So, for those of you who don't know Hope Himmel Benson, Hope and I met in a community where I was one of the community managers, and Hope was learning how to be a social media strategist. And so she was a student in a community that I was serving. And um, I was doing these lives every week. So Hope watched me do a lot of these types of interviews. So I asked you, Hope, maybe about a year ago or so, to come onto the show. And here we are, the end of 2024, and we're doing it. And we have a fantastic topic prepared for all of you. So, Hope, I'm going to start with asking you about your story before you found your niche. So, how did you get started in social media and in business? Because you didn't have a traditional path to get to marketing, did you?
Right. So, my background is as a licensed clinical social worker, and I worked for um, healthcare, well, social service organizations, healthcare organizations. And in my role as a social worker, I first got into marketing without knowing what marketing was. When my son, who's 26, was about 20 years ago, when I went to work for the National Association of Social Workers Louisiana chapter. And so I was over all the member services and events and whatnot. And so I was responsible for marketing those events, managing the website. And so that's when I first got introduced to that. I didn't really know it was marketing and communications. And then over time, as my roles changed when I went to work for a hospice organization as a social worker, they asked me if I'd be interested in doing the marketing after I'd been there about 5 years. And I was like, I thought marketing was a dirty word. I thought it meant sales. And I'm like, I'm not a marketer. I'm a team member. If you want me to go and share what we do and how we help people, I'm happy to do that. And they're like, well, that's marketing. So I got comfortable with the term marketing, but I did that for a number of years. And then I went to work for an elder care attorney who did estate planning, and she wanted a geriatric care manager for her estate planning clients. So I did that along with her marketing. So I just sort of fell into it. I incorporated it into my role as a social worker. And then from there, I went to work as a communications director for a healthcare organization that had like 9 different companies across the Gulf South. And so
Yeah.
that's where I landed and just got to learn to do a lot of different things in marketing.
And I love that because I think a lot of us there's quite a few marketers who traditionally went to school 20 years ago, 25 years ago, who learned marketing. But if you learned marketing 20, 25 years ago, it looks completely different now, right? So, and then we have this wave of people that includes me about 14, 15 years ago when social media started coming. And we were kind of the first wave of people. There was no degree, there was no social media degree. There was, marketing and communication, but you couldn't go to school for social media. So you had to kind of learn it on your own. And now, of course, a lot of the degrees you can get include like social media courses. So I love that. Like me, you're kind of self-taught, and I think that is so funny that you thought marketing was a dirty word because I thought that about sales, and now I do. Like I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do sales. And then somebody goes to me, Doreen, you're a business owner. Of course you do sales. You sell yourself. You sell your services. But it's funny how you have these conceptions of words and what they mean. So, okay, you set the stage. And when and why and how did you start a business?
So I was working as communications director, and I loved that role. It was the most challenging job of my career and the most exciting and rewarding. But it was a lot of hours. In my mind, it was like it felt like 70 hours a week. It may not have been, but I just knew that wasn't sustainable long term, and so I decided to leave and start my own consultancy with the plan of doing social media strategies because that's the course I had taken with the community that you talked about. It was basically a business in a box. Of course, I love social media. I'm like, "Oh, they can teach me how to do that. I've got a whole business model. I can just basically start off with that." That was my plan. And then 2 weeks later, COVID hit and changed the world. And so I decided I would just help whoever came to me. My initial plan for my business was to work with local business owners. I got a beautiful office with lots of meeting space because my plan was to teach little individual workshops to local business owners who want to learn how to manage their own marketing, including social media and websites. And they would come and take classes in small groups, 4 to 6, and I would walk them through as a group each stage of setting up their marketing. But then COVID shut the building down and everything else. So I had to pivot, the word that we've had enough of.
Oh my gosh, that's great. And I love that you said that because I didn't know that was your plan. That's
Yeah.
how I got started 14 years ago. I literally went to a local community college, paid for a room, invited the community to come, and I was teaching. I probably was 3 or 4 weeks ahead of what I was learning. And
Mhm.
then, teaching them. And then I would learn something, and I apply it. I was like, okay, and I figured it out. Okay, I'm going to teach Twitter now. And then I would, teach the next class once I mastered it. So I love that. That's a great idea. And
Yeah,
it's all local. And of course,
yeah.
you want to support local. So
Yes,
then what
that
happened?
was just local because I have been, because I was involved in marketing, healthcare marketing, I had a large network here, and I'm in Baton Rouge as well as New Orleans. And I had been a part of a lot of business networking groups. So I knew I had a lot of contacts and people who would be interested. So that was the plan. But then, like I said, the building shut down. I did have to pay a monthly lease for 12 months regardless. But hence I work online from now on, remote only. And so I just decided that I was going to help whoever God sent to me. And so I just did that. Whoever came to me, I posted on my my personal Facebook and my business Facebook group, that I was available for coaching, teaching, social media, and focusing more on social media at the time, and like Google business listings and things like that. So that's what I did, and did that for a couple of years. And it was people who were professional service providers, some like people who maybe you're like in industries that were outside my industry, my background, but it was all still applicable. I had authors, photographers, and so that's what I did for a couple of years.
All right. So let me ask you this, Hope. Did you, and we're going to get to that as we're talking about finding your niche, but you took anybody that came to you. Did you make a fairly good living? Were you able to set rates? This was COVID era where, a lot of marketing departments were let go, but then people like you and me who could fill that void where they didn't want to hire somebody and we were working remote. Did you find what I found, that you were really, really wanted and needed? And there were lots of people saying yes, putting their hand up, and yeah, so it was profitable.
Yes, it was like the perfect storm. When it came to anyone who wanted to get their business online and anyone offering services related to
Sure.
online. I wasn't doing websites at the time, but I could help them with their websites. I wasn't interested in doing website design back then. That's a whole nother story when it goes into defining my niche, because all of my experience was with WordPress, and WordPress is a little more complex and
Sure.
than a traditional solo business owner, or a small business where it's the office manager having to do all the things too, and it's just a little too much. So I didn't want to offer web design at the time because that's all that I knew. That changed since. That's part of my niche story, but
Yeah, so let's get in it. We were in the green room about 15 minutes ago, and I was like, we need to start recording because you have a great story. You, after 2 years, you decided, and was there like a pivotal moment that you're like, I need to change my business, or I'm not happy in my business, or somebody said something to you that made you decide to do this?
well, one of the things I was thinking about is, of course, marketing my services. And I knew, the saying, the riches are in the niches or the niches, like we also say. And I had those same fears about, well, I want to help everybody, but I also know if you help everyone or try to help everyone, you help no one.
No one.
I had that wisdom, but as a new business owner, it's hard to trust that. And
Mhm.
so after a couple of years, which, we're all excited about our business, it's like the adrenaline going, and you think about it 24/7, you realize this is not sustainable. Like, I have to
Mhm.
compartmentalize my business and my personal life. And so I started thinking about how can I simplify my business? And part of that is niching down.
All
And
right.
so
So
I
there you are. So what did you do? Because this is a great story. If you're
yeah.
listening to this, get ready.
So
This is a great story.
So one caveat is, when I left my corporate job to start my own business, I made an intentional decision not to focus on social workers, which is like my 30-year background and all of my network. But and I did that because social work is a heavy profession, and I just sort of wanted a break from it. And so I thought, I'll just focus on other types of health and wellness professionals or attorneys, other people that I've worked with in the past. And so that's what I did. So when I decided it was time to simplify my business so that I wasn't thinking about it 24/7, and heed the wisdom of niching, I thought, well, hope your natural audience who's already coming to you are social workers.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, let me explore that for about 6 months. I'm not going to put all of my efforts into marketing to social workers, but 50% of my marketing efforts I'm going to direct towards social workers and see if I get any traction. And I did that, and it worked out very, very well. And I did a few events, and I actually started my own Facebook group for social workers in business marketing. So I created a community for that, and it did really, really well. So that's what I focused on in 2023. And then I decided that it was really, really time to niche down further. I knew that I wanted to continue working with social workers and related professionals. But what I did, and I was telling you, so this was my exercise that I want to take everyone through, is I wanted to find the sweet spot. And that is the people that bring me the most joy in working with them, the services that I most enjoy. And remember, I talked about I wasn't doing website design, I was doing social media strategy and all that. Social media strategy didn't bring me that much joy. It was profitable, but it didn't bring me a whole lot of joy. And then the third thing is profitability of the services you offer, what's most profitable. So, looking at those three areas, the clients you serve, the services that you enjoy providing, and of those services, what's most profitable. So, I simply took a dry erase marker because I keep one in my bathroom, and my mirror is like where I dump all of my thoughts. It's like, mad scientist laboratory. So I first started with my clients, and I made a list of all of the clients I had worked with since I started my business in 2020. And then I simply drew a big smiley face next to the ones that just when I thought of them, their personality, what it was like to work with them, I put a big smiley face, the ones that just lit me up. And then the ones that were like, well, I enjoy working with them. If they came back to me, that would be okay. And I just put like a little grin. And then the ones that I thought, you know,
Never again.
they were a nice or lovely person, but it didn't bring me as much joy, whether it
Mhm.
was their personality or they took too long to make decisions or they weren't coachable. So I put a frowny face.
We just so you know, we all have those clients.
Yeah.
We call them PETA, right? Pain in the ass. So we know that, and if somebody likes that, boomerangs back to me, I put, their price goes up. Like if I want to take them, but I've already worked with them and I've seen some of the red flags, I just know I just have to ask for more money because more money is going to make me more patient
Yes.
to get the work done. But yeah, I totally hear you on that. And if you're listening and watching this, I know you probably in your head see your own clients that fit that bill.
Yes. And then some of the things about them, and you can go as deep as you want to with this part, is it may be not only, their personality or how easy it was to work with them, how coachable they were, to the industry that they're in, that you just love the things that they do. I have clients that I was so excited. I wasn't familiar with the work that they did, but learning about what they do just excited me, and because I was learning through them and I really appreciated the work that they were doing. So I got exposed to other types of industries that way. And then there were some people who were in some industries. I'm like, that is just so boring. Like, I just can't get excited about it. And although I can help you, you're not going to get the best of me because it just doesn't excite me. So that's what I did with the smiley faces. And then I looked at the services that I was offering: social media strategy, one-on-one coaching, um, contracting services. Because there were some clients that I had that had like 6 or 12 month marketing consulting contracts, which are great for pay. I mean, that's like steady income and things you can count on. But I also found for me, after a while, it started to feel like I'm an employee of theirs because
Mhm.
it's just gone on and on and on and on. And then you start hearing about, little internal issues with their company. I'm like, if I wanted all that, I'd just go back, to
Right.
work for someone else.
Right. Yeah.
So, I sort of assessed the services I was offered and that I was good at. And how did I feel about them? Were they uplifting to me? Did they feel me? And then the other thing was profitability. So social media strategy was very profitable. That's a high ticket item, but it didn't bring me a whole lot of joy in that I found for my clients after we were done with this beautiful document, how much work goes into it. They didn't necessarily have the time to fully implement it. And I didn't want to do the done for you services. So, that just it became a frowny service, when I really looked at it.
Yeah, sure.
But I love the coaching services. I love the one-on-one coaching services for marketing. I also love website design, which I was not offering. I was referring that out. I got as many, if not more, inquiries for website design that I did social media assistance, and I was referring them out because all I knew was WordPress,
WordPress, right.
and I just didn't feel that I didn't want to recommend something to them that I thought would be difficult to learn, the technology, the upkeep, and all that, because they're solo small business. So I was referring them out, but I knew that there were other options like Wix and Squarespace because I had clients who had those websites that would help them update it. So when I realized that who I love to work with, the types of professionals in the industries, the services that I could do, including the one I wasn't offering, and the profitability, I realized that website design was something I've been doing for 20 years. It's something my clients, who I love working with, are already asking for. I'm referring them to someone else. I just need a platform that I feel great about delivering that service for. And so I did a little research. I landed on Squarespace. I took a Squarespace design course as well as the business course. Similar to the course that you and I met through, it was basically a business in a box. Launch website in 2 weeks, easy to manage. It's something my professional clients love, and that's where I found my sweet spot. So
Yay.
you just take those three things, put your little smiley face, do like the little Venn diagram, and just see where that sweet spot is. So that's where I have landed. And so moving into 2025, my business is going to be shifting officially from marketing coaching and website design to strictly website design. I'm actually,
And the
I'm
big
actually
question that I have is, who do you serve? Who are your clients? Wellness, healthcare?
Yeah, so health and wellness professionals, so therapists, counselors, coaches, dietitians, holistic healthcare providers. As much as I've worked with many attorneys in my life, I've sort of dropped them from my list. Not that I wouldn't work with them, but I just love health and wellness. So that's a lifestyle that I personally embrace. And so working with those types of clients, if I can feel my client load with those types of clients, that fills me as
Yeah.
well.
I love this story. And I think that if you're listening to this and if you're watching this with us, the one thing that we are all guilty of as business owners is that we don't do work enough on our business. And Hope, you are a perfect example. You didn't take 20 years to figure this out. You did your business for 2 years during a time that was extremely difficult for all of us. And then you were like, okay, I'm going to self assess. And that self assessment piece is what a lot of us are missing. It took me years to do that. It took me years to do a yearly strategy for Morin Media, for my business. But now I do that. I usually Friday afternoons, I take that time to work on my business. And so if there's anything that you're going to get out of this, if you're watching this, if you listen to this, start working on your business. Give yourself some time every week or once a month to do something like Hope suggested, is that self-assessment piece and figuring out your niche. Because why are we working with clients that we don't like? Or why are we offering services that we don't like, right? Why are we doing that? Just because people ask, we
Right.
should say no and refer them out. So I absolutely love that. So you've now been, you said 2025, you're only going to do websites. So this year, 2024, has been kind of like the turnover year. Is that
So
correct?
in 2024, I announced to my community end of 2023 that I was going to start offering website design in January of 2024. And I quickly had three therapists who said, whenever you start, let me know because I need a website. And so it proved my point. Like, would people, my natural audience who was coming to me and the service that they were often seeking that I was referring out, and it's something that I enjoy doing, it all melded well together. And it just sort of snowballed. So that's what I've been doing this year, in addition to offering the marketing coaching, which I still love doing. But when I look at what's most profitable of the things I love doing, website design is. So it doesn't make sense to keep that coaching piece that takes up time in my calendar that I could be doing more website design. And
Okay.
so, but I still have a heart for my clients. Like, I'm not going to leave them high and dry because I am an information and resource junkie. I love equipping and empowering people. So the way I'm going to continue to support them, because I couldn't let myself just drop that, like just do their website and
Right.
after 30 days of support, we're done. Is I'm going to start like a VIP marketing mastermind for my design clients. So after we finish their website, if they want to move to the marketing mastermind, it will be free for my clients. And then we'll continue to I'll be able to continue to do like group coaching there, answer, website branding questions, and continue to support them in a group setting where everyone can benefit from it. But because all of my clients are so similar, they're going to get to network with each other,
Right.
develop potential referral sources from each other, learn from each other. Because I realized, Doreen, I have been creating and managing Facebook groups since my son was, I don't know, in ninth or 10th grade. He's now 26. I've never done it for my own business, for my own
Oh,
clients.
right.
So that's going to be, one of my main marketing strategies for client retention, by
Right.
being able to provide them ongoing support, doing something I love and something that they already participate in, because many of them are in other social work online communities that I manage. So, so
It makes so much sense. So I can see, and those of you who are listening, you don't see Hope's face, but she's lighting up, talking about her clients, talking about her business, talking about what she's doing, the services and working with them. Now, if we are taking anything away from this, and I'm going to ask you this, Hope,
mhm.
businesses, even though we have a business life and you have a work life, there's no such thing that we know as that business life balance, right? This work life balance. But what I'm finding by listening to you is that you have found a way to bring more peace to your home life, to your regular life by doing this. Am I correct to make that assumption now that I'm seeing you and listening to you? And so what would your advice be for somebody who's just completely overwhelmed? How do you feel, I guess, is what I'm asking now that you've found this niche?
I will say, I feel relief. Because, that's one of the things that as business owners, especially when we're new in business, and, granted, we all just get started doing what we know how to do or what we think we should be doing or what other people are doing that we have to offer, because you're just trying to get traction and get going. But, self reflection and assessment is important. And then also turn, turning off the noise. I
Mm,
stopped following a lot of people that I initially followed, because you're going to do that comparison. You're also going to think, well, you get influenced by how other people do things. You don't leave enough room for yourself. And so that, I think, is what's been the most helpful for me in finding this point of peace and relief, is tuning all that out and then refocusing on me and thinking, if I had nothing to go by, if I just had a blank slate and I just took myself without the influence of social media and all the gurus and all the groups and all the people that I follow, what would I love to do? And the things that I've always done is I've always connected people with the information and resources they needed to equip and empower themselves to reach their own goals. I did that as a social worker, and I've done that with my clients, which is why um, I have certain types of clients that I want to work with. I only want to work with people who want to learn and who are coachable. I don't want to work with people who are like, just get it done for me, just get it done for me. I could go back to work and just get
right.
it done. But
Yeah.
that, I love equipping people to feel great and being self sufficient and independent. But I also recognize that people need continued support and resources. So I didn't want to just drop them, because I've always
Yeah.
been a resource to people. So starting the Dreamtime like VIP mastermind is going to allow me to do
I absolutely love that idea. You are a smart marketer. Hope, I know there's people listening who go, I know somebody who is a social worker. I know a therapist. I know somebody in the wellness industry. They need hope. They need a website. How can people reach you? How can they connect with you? And where are you still active on social that they can find you besides, I guess, your website?
Yes. So my website is dreamtimemarketing.com. I'm on Facebook. My business page is Dreamtime Marketing, with Hope Email Benson. And then I also have LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn business page, but I don't use it. I have my LinkedIn profile, which is my name, Hope Email Benson. It is pronounced email and not Heimel, although
Oh, that's funny because I said it wrong. I didn't
no,
ask you because I
it's
assumed
okay.
I would know.
I will tell you, I've actually learned to say Himmel or Heimel, because no one can pronounce it, and they think I'm saying email, like E
Right.
male, but
Okay.
it's German, and but here in Louisiana, um, French and Spanish were the languages, in the early days of Louisiana, and the H is silent in both French and Spanish. So the pronunciation makes
Ah,
a
that's
little
what it is.
yeah. But so yeah, my website, Facebook business page, LinkedIn personal page.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being with us today for Strategy Talks. This was the first talking about niching down. I love the story, and I love that you took your time last year when you were like, I'm not ready, and came on this year that you have figured it out and you share your process with all of us, because I think there's a lot of lessons here to be learned. I really appreciate you kind of laying it out how you went through it, and I can just tell that you're going to be hugely successful because you have this spark when you talk about your business, and that's so many of us are missing that. Like I can tell you love what you do, and good for you for figuring that out. And thank you so much for sharing that process with us. If you've listened to us today and you want to connect with Hope, please do so. I'll make sure the show notes have her website in it so you can connect with Hope. And I'll be back next week with another episode of Strategy Talk. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.